Hey, vinyl community, how's it going? So, I don't know if anybody noticed, but on Friday of last week, I believe it was Friday of last week, Graham Edge from the Moody Blues passed away, very unfortunately. And if you're not familiar with who Graham Edge is, Graham Edge was considered the poet of the Moody Blues. He wrote the poetry that you hear in Nights in White Satin, the song Departure, The Word. This poetry is sprinkled throughout the Moody Blues catalog. He never was the one to narrate it. Usually it was Mike Pinder or one of the other Moody Blues who actually did the narration of his poems on the records, but he was the one who actually wrote them, so it was very tragic that he did pass away. He's one of the founding members of the Moody Blues. So, in memoriam, I thought I would go through, do an update on my Moody Blues vinyl collection. First album here is called Go Now. This was the American release. This is on the the London record label. In the UK, this album was called The Magnificent Moodies, but this has the title track Go Now on it, which was a radio hit. Denny Lane, who was a member of Wings, was a part of the Moody Blues. He was a member on their first album and then left the band after this album was released. But very much kind of what you might expect, a 60s power pop effort here. Doesn't sound too dissimilar to a lot of other kind of early 60s pop that was coming out of the UK, the British Invasion type music that was coming out. But an interesting album to have. Don't play it all that often. Don't play it very often at all, actually. Not my favorite Moody Blues album, but I'm a completist, so it's part of my catalog. Now, my favorite Moody Blues album. This is Days of Future Past. Love this album. This is a concept album. Basically, it follows a man from the morning as the day begins is the first track, which is kind of like an overture, all the way through the night, which includes the song Nights in White Satin. It's a lot of orchestral, but it does rock hard in places. Kind of psychedelic in some spots, but really, really great crafted songs. I like this album a lot. There's a lot of melody on here. There is some mellotron in spots, some orchestration, but definitely love this one. One of my favorite albums of 1967, if not the 60s in general. So great record there. Follow up, In Search of the Lost Chord. Very cool, kind of spooky cover there. I remember growing up seeing this album cover and kind of being creeped out by it. And of course, the song Departure definitely was a little unsettling to hear that, and then right into Ride My Seesaw. But this album also has Legend of a Mind about Timothy Leary and the whole LSD experiment. The Actor, I really like that song a lot. Voices in the Sky is a very cool... the Moody Blues did not sound like any other band in the 60s and early 70s. For that matter, they just had a very melancholy sound. I mean, they did rock hard. There are some slight progressive elements to their sound, but just something very relaxing about listening to the Moody Blues. They would have flutes, not afraid to incorporate a whole host of different instruments into their sound. And this one is definitely probably my follow-up favorite album by the Moody Blues. Really enjoy this one. But it's so hard. Their first 7 albums, to me, are pretty untouchable. Really great. And this one was released in 1968. Got a strange gatefold here, which... to anyone who has practiced meditation or yoga, the word mantra is familiar as a word of power, concentrated upon in meditation. The most important word of power in the Hindu scriptures is the word Om. And so anyway, it's kind of got some hippy-dippy liner notes there, which, you know, kind of dates the album a little bit, but I don't care. I think it's great. Love that record. Next album is On the Threshold of a Dream. This was released in 1969. In the Beginning, another Graham Edge poem. Lovely to See You, Dear Diary. So many great songs on this one. Love Never Comes a Day, Lazy Day. Have You Heard? The Voyage is great. Produced by Tony Clark. This also has a gatefold. This is on the Deerham record label. Some shots of the band there. Dispensing with psychedelic hippie liner notes there, but definitely a cool album. To Our Children's Children. This is actually, although you wouldn't know it from the cover of the album, kind of a futuristic album. It's definitely sort of looking forward, but one of their most subdued, mellow. When I talk about melancholy albums, this one definitely fits the bill. This is a great album to fall asleep to. Just kind of put this on and drift off. If you've had an edible, even better. But nonetheless, love this one. Love the artwork here, which is very cool. This one also has a gatefold of the group sitting around a campfire. Looks like they're in a cave, something like that. But this has Higher and Higher, Eyes of a Child, Part 1 and 2, Floating, Never Thought I'd Live to Be 100, which is kind of a brief acoustic interlude there. Out and In, Gypsy, Candle of Life. Just amazing, amazing songs. They use a mellotron to great effect. But it just puts you in just such a kind of a mellow mood. It's great chill music. Moody Blues are fantastic music for that. And then their first album of the 1970s, A Question of Balance. Love this cover artwork too. If nothing else, you got to admit the Moody Blues had some very cool artwork. This is also a gatefold here. Very kind of psychedelic looking, but this has Question, one of my favorite Moody Blues tracks of all time. And The Tide Rushes In, just a great mellow track. The Tortoise and the Hare, which is a very cool instrumental. It's Up to You, Minstrel Song, Melancholy Man. You know, I said melancholy, and I love that track. It lives up to its title for sure, but great album. Maybe my second or third. This one always, I can't make my mind up on any given day. It might be my second or third favorite. The album after that is Every Good Boy Deserves Favour. Another cool album cover. And like a lot of the Moody Blues, there's a gatefold here, which it looks like a cave painting actually, or something. I don't know. It's a very surreal kind of a drawing. But this one has Procession, The Story in Your Eyes. Emily's Song is great. Love that one. This is a very underrated. When I talk about their first 7 albums are just untouchable and fantastic. This one is no exception. It's so hard. I can't even rank these. I mean, I could if I sat down and tried. If I had a gun to my head, I guess. But I love these albums all equally. So cool. And I haven't shown any of the album, the record labels. This is on their own personal record label, the Threshold record label. But another great album. So many gems on this one too that make for very enjoyable listening. And what I consider to be the last album of their classic period. This is 7th, Sojourn. Yes, there's a gatefold. Kind of cool artwork of the band there. And this one has For My Lady, is a very cool track. I love When You're a Free Man. Damn it. Great, just a mellow track. It's a great song to listen to at night. So many of these, you could almost put like a nighttime playlist or just a chill playlist where you can just kind of sit back. And the Moody Blues just put you in such a trance. I mean that in a positive way, and I know people are gonna probably give me shit on the comment section about it, but if you love the Moody Blues, you know what I'm talking about. Just such a great great string of albums that they had there in the late 60s and early 70s. I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band was the hit on here. Isn't Life Strange is another one that pops up on Moody Blues Greatest Hits compilations, and with good reason. And the Moody Blues, they share the vocals too. They didn't have just one vocalist. Justin Hayward, I think, is probably the one that most people know the most, but they shared the vocals. They had several good, not only great vocalists, but also songwriters as part of the Moody Blues. So it made them just a great ensemble. Their very first live album, this is Caught Live +5, 4 sides of pretty much all the best of the Moody Blues. You got Gypsy, Dr. Livingstone, I Presume, Never Comes a Day, Peak Hour, Tuesday Afternoon, Are You Sitting Comfortably, Nights in White Satin, of course, Legend of a Mind, Ride My Seesaw off their third album too. I forgot to mention that one. That is a great one. And then there's actually a fourth side, there's a fourth side of studio tracks on here. So really it's only 3 sides of live music, and then there's a fourth side of some studio. Nothing I'm real crazy about studio-wise on here, but cool record to have. Then a monster Moody Blues hits compilation. This is Moody Blues. We've got a little sampling of each of their first 7 studio albums on here. Really, if you can check this out, if you're wanting to get into the Moody Blues, but you don't want to invest in each of their studio albums, at least their initial ones, which you should. Don't settle for the Greatest Hits compilation. There's too much great music you're going to miss, even on a double album compilation like this. 4 sides of just fantastic music, and in keeping with the Moody Blues tradition, there's a gatefold. This one's kind of a black and white collage of different Moody Blues photos. But yeah, this would be the one to get. If you see it, you want to pick it up. You know, is Jeff full of shit about the Moody Blues, or are they really as great as he makes them? Yes, yes, they are. They are as great. Listen, I wouldn't steer you wrong. Check out the Moody Blues. Okay, so anyway, they took a little bit of a sabbatical, and I'm not sure what year this came out. This was on the London record label, but they did reconvene. It looks like this was I can't, my eyes, I don't know, 78 maybe, not sure, but Octave, not crazy. I mean, that's, album artwork is okay. There's a gatefold with them coming out. Ooh, they're going in, they're coming out. But Stepping on the Slide Zone, it's definitely a departure from the classic Moody Blues sound. They were trying, a little bit more with the synthesizers. It sounds, to me, it sounds a bit dated today. Not that it's a terrible album, it's not. It's got some stuff to recommend. Driftwood is pretty cool. Like I said, Stepping on the Slide Zone is all right. The Day We Meet Again is very cool. But after that, the next album, Long Distance Voyager. Love this album artwork. As much as I didn't really care for the last album's artwork, this one, love it. It is so cool. Just got a very classic gatefold here. Love the classical kind of imagery there. And the gatefold's just got the lyrics, some very small pictures here of the figures. Each of the figures on here, I guess, are kind of representative of the different songs. Pretty good album. I would say I like it a lot better than I like Octave. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. The Voice, I think, is the one that was probably played on the radio the most. So I really like that one, but it holds together pretty well. I do enjoy this album. I know some people who don't, but, not one of their best, but I think it's still a very enjoyable record as well. Next, this is a single disc Greatest Hits compilation. Don't settle for a single disc Moody Blues. If you're going to get a Moody Blues, go for either the double disc or start buying up their studio albums. You can't go wrong, but this is okay. It's got a little too much from their last 2 albums on here. You got The Voice, Veteran Cosmic Rocker, Sitting at the Wheel. You've got I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, Nights in White Satin, Ride My Seesaw, and then that Question, and then that's kind of, this is a real weak Moody Blues compilation. There's not even a gatefold. I mean, the cover's okay, so, I mean, whatever. And then the MTV channel, or MTV cable channel, started to play the Moody Blues, and they had a bit of a revival of sorts. I don't know if I'd call this necessarily a comeback album, but Your Wildest Dreams got heavy airplay on MTV and sort of reintroduced a new generation to the Moody Blues, kind of the same time that Yes came out with Owner of a Lonely Heart, and a new generation discovered the band Yes. But not a gatefold, definitely very 80s, if you couldn't tell by the cover artwork. But The Other Side of Life, that track is very cool. Your Wildest Dreams. It's kind of got a dated sound. It's not classic Moody Blues, but, you know, I'm not going to complain too much. And then The Present. Finally, they're back to a gatefold, but I've got the shrink on this still, so I can't open it up. This one's all right. Again, it sounds very 80s, sounds a bit dated today. You got a flying saucer on the back cover. That works kind of ho-hum, but not a huge fan of this record. I mean, it's not terrible, but I love their early stuff so much that it's always going to be measured against that. And then Sur La Mer is, I think, their last album of the 80s. This is 1988. I Know You're Out There Somewhere was a big hit that got play on the radio and on MTV. And after that, it's kind of, you know, hit or miss. Nothing spectacular on here. Stay away from the Moody Blues 80s for the most part. If you're starting to, you know, build your Moody Blues collection, then if you like the early stuff, maybe you want to get into this. But anyway, holy crap, I didn't mean for this video to go on so long. But anyway, love the Moody Blues. R.I.P. Graham Edge. Hope you're doing great, and take care.